Let's now dig deeper into this trend, and joining me now is Nanelle Inti, a nurse who is working in the United Kingdom but is originally from Ghana.
Guys, I just finished my interview with BBC. BBC. Period. Stop that. Hi guys. So as most of you know, I was live on BBC Focus on Africa News, live on 6th of June at 5:30 BST, British Summer Time. And I know that I have not given you the gist. I've been receiving several comments and people asking me, they want the link, they want to watch the video, blah, blah, blah. So let me explain, okay? So I received an email from BBC sometime last week. This lady says she likes my personality, she watches my YouTube videos, she works with the BBC, and they were going to have a podcast, okay, about life in the UK as an African nurse or as a nurse trained in Africa. So they needed my opinion, they wanted me to be on there. Hi, my name is Nanelle Griselda. I'm a Ghanaian trained nurse currently practicing in the UK. I've been in the UK practicing as a nurse for almost 5 years now, and I'm super excited to be on the BBC Focus on Africa podcast to share my experience as an African nurse living in the UK. I'll be going all out. Yes, all out. This is a must-listen podcast. So we did have the discussion. This was a very long discussion. This was over 20 minutes, okay? And so I was there to discuss, yeah, and that was it.
But let's start with Nanelle Griselda T, who's here from Ghana. She has a YouTube channel dedicated to her nursing experience, in which she aims to inspire, share tips, and inform other overseas nurses and health professionals who are interested in coming to work in the UK. She told me how she deals with those who doubt her abilities based on where she comes from.
Some people do, not all people, but some people. And I don't blame them entirely. I think they don't know much about Africa. They've only seen the not so pleasant things about Africa. So they think you guys don't have, there's not enough infrastructure. How come you are diseducated to treat people in the UK, in a developed country? So I think it's a bit difficult for them to accept it. When I first started at my job, in some instances, I felt like that, like some people would just not accept that I was qualified enough to take care of people.
How do you deal with that?
I had just programmed my mind that those things are likely to happen. And like I said, you prove yourself with time, and they get to accept eventually. I don't blame them entirely. It's just because of the stuff that they've heard about where we are from that's not so pleasant.
I didn't even make noise about it. Some of my friends don't even know I was there because, with podcast, it was just my voice, and although they mentioned my name, it was just my voice. But later after the podcast, I received another call from another person from BBC saying that they would want to have me live on the news. And the time they told me, it was like quite a short interval. I think they told me the morning before. So I didn't even know whether I should agree to it. So I told her I was going to think about it because we all know that this has happened before. Another YouTuber was on there and it was a lot. This person went viral for all the wrong reasons in the world. And I know myself that I can get mouth diarrhea as well. So I wanted to be very careful with such, so I wasn't sure whether I should accept it or not. But then I was like, I have missed so much opportunities, guys. I was called by RCN sometime back last year for a commercial. They were willing to fly me to London, film the commercial, blah, blah, blah. But because I live in Northern Ireland, I missed the opportunity because it was such a short notice. My husband was working, I was working. How was I going to go? Like, it was such a short notice. I missed it. I was invited by YouTube for a program in London. Selected few YouTubers who talk about health, because I talk about nursing sometimes. I was invited. The likes of Dr. Jude, the likes of Ali Abdaal, the likes of all these popular YouTubers and it was strictly by invitation. Were there and I was invited, and that was my opportunity to meet my crush and my idol Ali Abdaal, and I missed it again because some few days to the event, YouTube sent me another email saying that there's a train strike in London, so they are rescheduling. I've missed these great opportunities. So with this time around, I told myself I'm not going to miss it. I'm going to show up and I'm going to do well. So they told me it was basically going to be about the same things we discussed in the podcast. I was like, okay. And it was basically, what do I think about nurses from Africa coming over to work here? When they are saying that the nurse to patient ratio in Ghana is 1 to 1,000, which is very strange because I was jobless for a long time in Ghana, no jobs. And the government of Ghana is in agreement with the UK government to export nurses, and the Ghanaian nurses are already being exported to Barbados. I don't know why they are making the whole thing look like
It's so bad in Ghana, like there are no nurses in Ghana. Like I don't know why. So I was willing to share my side of the story. And on the podcast, I did tell them that I was jobless in Ghana. I was jumping from one radio station to the other to bash the government to give me a job because I am fully qualified nurse. In Ghana, the government is the one supposed to post nurses to give nurses jobs after school. You're not the one supposed to like go and search for a job. It's like the norm. After school, the government will give you a job. And we were in the house for a long time, over 6,000 nurses. No jobs. We formed a movement called Faithful Nurses Movement, and I was one of the people, one of the members. I went to a radio station to talk, to say my mind, and I was so angry at the radio station. My auntie even told me that I didn't speak well. So, okay, back to the story. So I don't know why, and I said all of this in the podcast, like the fact that I was jumping from radio station to radio station in Ghana. You needed me, so why not come? So all of that.
Why I came to the UK was because after school, usually in Ghana, the norm is that after school you are posted to your place of work by the government. So you wait till the government gives you a job. It's unlike the UK where after school you'd have to send your CV, apply for a job in anywhere that you want. So my year group, we waited for a very long time and we have still not been posted. And the year group before our year group, this is thousands of nurses, had also not been posted because the government could not employ all of us. And I was part of a group called Faithful Nurses Movement in Ghana. And we went to several radio stations to bash the government to post us because we went to school and we want to practice our nursing, want to care for people. We are of no use being at home and having no jobs. So the issue at the time, which is still the case now, is that Ghana had more nurses than it could employ. So that is why Ghana has an agreement with the country, Barbados, where trained Ghanaian nurses are sent to Barbados because Barbados does need nurses. However, Ghana cannot employ all its trained nurses. So it's like we have more than enough.
I suppose it's worth pointing out that the ratio of nurses in Ghana to patients is higher than it is here in the UK.
Well, it's not the case everywhere in Ghana.
Okay.
So there were no jobs, and the UK was massively short. And the UK, it's a developed country, more opportunities. So that's the reason.
So let me say a big thank you to Precious Adadi Dodu, my nursing president from back in KNST, and he's been on my channel before. He's a senior lecturer in the UK University of Huddersfield, and I called him because, see me, I have a lot of intellectual friends. When I need advice for this particular sector, I know who to call. When I need advice for this particular sector. For the BBC, I knew I needed Precious. He's been a president of an association before. He's well-learned and well-mannered. So I'm like, I called him and he coached me on how I can answer my questions, guys. These are the tips. These are my coaching lessons from Precious. Okay. And shout out to Angela as well. Angela also helped me. Angela Agori from GDNA. So I got tips from Angela and I got like serious coaching from Precious to help me to know the words to use on such a platform. So the interview was basically about this whole thing about Ghana being in dire need of nurses, yet the UK NHS is massively recruiting nurses from Ghana. But it didn't go that way. They didn't have enough time. They needed to talk about something else. So they only asked me 2 questions.
Let's take a closer look at one country, Ghana. Medics there say the country's health system is being crippled by staff shortages due to the number of nurses leaving for jobs in the United Kingdom. And as Naomi Grimley now reports, more than 1,200 Ghanaian nurses joined the UK's nursing register in 2022 alone.
This is Ghana's best equipped hospital in the capital, Accra. The staff here are highly trained, but there's a fundamental problem, according to the head of nursing.
Where have you brought me?
I've brought you to the 2nd floor, Greater Accra Regional Hospital. This is the main ICU.
And what's the effect? Are you noticing nurses leaving?
Yes, the ICU nurses are leaving, and they are our main resource. They are those who take care of the seriously ill. They are experienced. And in fact, they are trained, a lot of things went in. So if it happens that we are losing them, it's a great bother to us.
In Cape Coast, the idyllic beaches disguise the fact that this is one of Ghana's most deprived regions. Yet the main hospital here complains it's lost 22 nurses to the UK.
All our critical care nurses, our experienced nurses are all gone to them. So virtually we end up having no experienced staff to work with. If even the government recruits, we have to go through the pain of training them again.
Howard Catton is from the International Council of Nurses.
My sense is that the situation currently is out of control. We have intense recruitment taking place, mainly driven by 6 or 7 high-income countries, but with recruitment from those countries who are some of the most weakest and vulnerable, who can ill afford to lose their nurses.
Ghana's economic problems mean there's no money to fund the next generation of nurses. The head doctor in this small clinic fears what all this will mean for the health of his patients.
The impact is enormous. Let's take services like immunization of children. If we lose public health nurses, then the babies that have to be immunized will not get the required immunization, and we are going to have babies die. Then there are critical care nurses. So if you lose them, it will take time to train them. And whilst they are away and whilst you are training, you might get people who need services dying.
So what do the patients themselves think?
It brings hardship to them and their families. The nurses don't make any money. Talk about giving their families some. So the monetary aspect is huge.
Because the nurses here are few and the patients are more, it can cause deaths in the hospitals. So if you can, please offer us help in Ghanaian hospitals.
The UK insists it does not recruit actively from countries with the most fragile healthcare systems. However, the Ghanaian health minister said in December that his country had been in talks with the British government to formalise the recruitment process.
We are engaging with the government of the United Kingdom, and we are just about signing a memorandum of agreement after cabinet approval to begin to send nurses, even the certificate nurses, to go for training and work there and come back home after 3 years.
The UK has already given some aid money to help boost Ghana's health workforce. But is that enough?
The deals that are being put in place smack more of trying to create some veneer of ethical respectability rather than a proper reflection of the true costs to the countries that are losing their nurses.
Meanwhile, the retention crisis goes on.
Like, our salary is nothing to write home. Within 2 weeks, you spend it. It's from hand to mouth.
This continent is used to outsiders wanting its precious resources. Today, that precious resource is nurses. Naomi Grimley, BBC News, Cape Coast, Ghana.
Let's now dig deeper into this trend, and joining me now is Nanelle Inti, a nurse who is working in the United Kingdom but is originally from Ghana. Nanelle, thanks for speaking with us. Tell us, how were you recruited?
So thank you for having me. So I was recruited back in 2018 through a recruitment agency in the UK. Yes.
And generally, what would you say your experience has been like so far?
So for most parts, very positive. You know, I've been able to work, you know, in state-of-the-art facilities. I've been able to work with, you know, equipment and, you know, advanced technology that may not be readily available where I'm from. So for the most part, quite positive, you know. I've gained new knowledge, new skills that's building me up as a nurse, which I'm very proud of. And we do have the, you know, not so pleasant aspects as well, you know, coming from coming from Africa, being trained in Africa, there's this prejudice. You know, you come here, although you're fully qualified, some people think you're not, you know, qualified enough to take care of British people because they probably heard negative stuff about the training or the education system in Africa. And also, so you have to, you know, prove yourself. It takes people a while to, you know, accept that. And also, you know, discrimination issues, which is, you know, in the open. A research was done by the Greenwich University, and they concluded that they found out in the research that Black nurses and Asian nurses are more likely to be, you know, referred to the NMC based on fitness to practice issues. And usually most of these cases are dropped because the NMC, maybe through investigation, will realize that these were non-starters in the first place. So we do suffer some form of discrimination, yeah, as well.
Thank you for giving us that balanced context. I'll come back to you in just a bit, but let me bring in Tobekile Ngube, who's a nurse that was trained in the UK, but originally from Zimbabwe, and she's also a senior lecturer in nursing at the University of East London. Tobekile, I want to hear from you on this. What's that one thing you'd like people to know about the nursing system, the healthcare system in Africa, and you can refer to, Ghana or Zimbabwe, for example, as per your experience?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I think what I have learned about the different health systems between Europe and Africa are more or less going to be the same. I think the only differences are going to be the economic developments, cultural and religious differences that can impact or affect the way that nurses will perform their jobs, whether it's in the UK, whether it's in one of the 54 countries in Africa. Just like my colleague stated earlier on, yes, we do have the technology, but we should never underestimate our African colleagues. These guys are highly knowledgeable and they're highly skilled in terms of their jobs. When she spoke about discrimination, you will come across it in all NHS trusts or primary care trusts. So we're not saying that it doesn't exist, it does exist. But I think at the end of the day, yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to say thanks to Nanelle Inti for joining us just to share some thoughts. And we also had Tobekile Ngube, who's both nurses with different experiences, sharing with Focus on Africa.
Honestly, I was expecting way more questions. Like you can see, these are the answers I planned for every single question that he asked me. And I thank God, that I have been able to be on such a platform. My daddy told the whole world, including the chief of my village. My mom was super excited. She prayed with me. African mothers, go and take sugar, put it in your mouth and tell God, God, let my words be sweet like this sugar. And funny enough, I also did it. Honestly, I still know that what I said, it will not sound sweet to everybody, but anyway, we move. I did what I could do. And yes, I was on VVC, yes. And that takes me to the fact that if you are doing anything on any social media platform, be careful how you handle yourself. Because for somebody from BBC to tell me they like my personality when I didn't even think that people that were born in the UK and don't need visas will watch my videos yet. Look at what happened. So I thank God, honestly, for everybody that was genuinely happy for me for this opportunity. And I pray to God that whatever you are looking for as well, you get it, okay? And that this channel goes to even bigger platforms and higher platforms. I hope that I'll get more opportunities to use my voice and help people like me, migrants. Okay, that is all. Thank you so much, guys, for watching, and I love you all. If you have not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for, guys? What are you waiting for? Thank you so much, guys. Make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. Bye.